Hunky Mark.
Hello.
There are legends. There are ways in which one legend smashes into another legend.
Babe Ruth, ladies and gentlemen. This is the sports section.
No, I'm talking about more in a sort of you got your chocolate on my peanut butter.
Oh,
sort of
I see. So
event.
you may be talking about one of the world's great religions clashing with something like, I don't know, cryptozoology.
I am indeed, and I think Uncle Doug, you've got some.
Tell us how the Loch Ness Monster is forbidden in Leviticus.
Well, it's funny you should say that. I guess I'll start out with, what do you get when you mix 19th century extremist violence, mid-20th century slut-shaming, and good old-fashioned American religious gullibility?
Dan.
Bigfoot, of course.
Oh, okay.
Wait, slut-shaming?
Oh, yeah. Well,
what?
I'm very excited about this.
Okay, that took a turn.
You'll know
going
what
to.
I'm talking about. So the persistent and deeply strange Mormon folklore that Cain,
As in brother of Abel, son of Adam and Eve,
still walks the earth and is what we know as Bigfoot. Comes from a single account by a gentleman named David W. Patton.
And if there's a W in it, it's probably a Mormon.
That's right.
If you got a middle initial.
A middle initial that doesn't mean anything.
It's either
a ceremonial.
It's either an assassin or a Mormon.
Yeah.
Right. So David W. Patton from the 1830s. Now, this account, which we'll get to, is far from a first-hand account, as it comes from a letter written by someone else, a friend of Patton named Abraham Smoot, recalling the story told to him by Patton. And then this letter itself was quoted in a 1900 biography of Patton written by Lycurgus Wilson.
So
it's
in Mormonism, that's called a first-hand account.
Exactly. That's as close to the source material
Yeah.
as you're going to get. So more than likely, this tale would have remained totally obscure and almost totally unknown were it not for its inclusion by one Prophet Spencer W. Kimball in his 1969 seminal work, The Miracle of Forgiveness.
Yes. Which is really
What a great word.
one of the most wonderfully misnamed books.
Yeah, exactly.
It is to paraphrase, How to Direct Your Hatred.
Yeah.
Yeah. And Tales of the Bigfoot.
This bile-filled screed of guilt and slut-shaming was and is forced on Mormons of all ages for indiscretions ranging from impure thoughts to masturbation, Gnostical turpitude to adultery. So, in Mormon culture, if you screw up sufficiently enough, more than likely, when you go to confess to your bishop, he's going to hand you a copy of this book called The Miracle of Forgiveness.
If they don't blood atone you.
Exactly.
How to hate yourself and others.
If they don't cut your head clean the fuck off.
Right.
Then you're given a pamphlet.
And in this book, which oddly, this account just doesn't, it's so incongruous that this account isn't here, but here it is. On page 127, in a chapter discussing the list of unforgivable sins, Kimball
is being Bigfoot.
Kimball includes the following account from Patton. Quote, "As I was riding along the road on my mule, I suddenly noticed a very strange personage walking beside me."
By the way, only Mormons use the word personage.
Right.
His head was about even with my shoulders as I sat in my saddle. He wore no clothing, but was covered with hair. His skin was very dark. So we know he's a bad guy.
Right, exactly. That's Mormon code.
Yeah. Here's the best part. I asked him where he dwelt, and he replied that he had no home, that he was a wanderer in the earth and traveled to and fro. He said that he was a very miserable creature and had earnestly sought death during his sojourn upon the earth, but that he could not die, and his mission was to destroy the souls of men.
Also, he has a ring that makes him invisible.
Exactly.
So he's not so different from your uncles here.
Right. Yes, indeed.
He's just trying to die. He's miserable, and he's trying to ruin everybody else's faith.
Exactly. So
I'm down with this guy.
The account concludes, about the time he expressed himself thus, "I rebuked him in the name of the Lord Jesus Christ and by virtue of the holy priesthood, and commanded him to go hence, and he immediately departed out of my sight."
Because who wouldn't leave if you pulled some shit like that?
Well, I gotta to be a little bit fair to Patton here. Is this not just like every freaky public transportation guy who sits next to you on the bus?
Right.
And you're like, "Hey man, how are you?" "Oh, I have no home. I wander to and fro and seek the souls of men." It's like, okay. Pulling on the cord.
Although I haven't tried, but maybe should try in that situation. "I rebuke you in the name of the Lord, and using the priesthood power which I hold,
Melchizedek.
I send you away."
You know what? And the guy next to you on the bus will be like, okay,
I'm going to leave.
I'm going.
Somebody out there,
You
give
win.
that a try.
You win.
So notice that Patton nor Kimball explicitly claim in this little anecdote that the character in the story was Cain or that he was what we now call Bigfoot.
The Sasquatch.
But that is what has been widely interpreted by Mormon culture.
Yeah, how did it get to Cain? Like, okay,
Good
big
question.
furry guy, I get maybe taking that to Bigfoot, although ability to speak in full sentences seems a little suspect.
Right.
But Cain is especially tricky.
Well, let's see if we can get there.
All right.
Let's divert for a second to discuss David W. Patton, first of all. Patton was baptized into the New Mormon Church in 1832 and went on several, so right at the beginning, went on several short missions for the church. He went on to become one of the original 12 apostles.
He went on one mission for each of his wives and daughters.
Exactly.
Right? So
Exactly.
when he came home, he's like, I'm not married. I don't have kids anymore.
Right.
Yeah.
He became one of the original 12 apostles in 1836.
Wow.
And it was while he was on one of these missions to Paris, Tennessee, that he had his encounter. There's a Paris in Tennessee.
There's a Paris in all the shitty states.
Oh, okay. This was. I thought this was in Utah, but they weren't here yet.
Nope, far from
So
here.
yeah. So Tennessee. Okay, Sasquatch. Go.
So in 1838, tensions between Missourians and Mormons got so bad that a group of Missouri militia kidnapped 3 Mormons. Patton was sent to rescue them, and the ensuing battle, known as the Battle of Crooked River, resulted in 16 casualties and 4 fatalities.
They were all killed by a Bigfoot. The Mormon Hulk.
Among them was Patton. He died.
Oh.
Although the 3 Mormons were rescued, this skirmish led pretty much directly to Missouri Governor Lilburn Boggs' extermination order,
Yeah.
which led to the Mormons fleeing Missouri for their very lives.
Right.
So now we can divert for a minute to Cain, now that we know who Patton is. In the 4th and 5th chapters of Genesis, as I'm sure everyone well knows, Cain was the first son of Adam and Eve, whose second son was called Abel. Cain was a tiller of the ground, and Abel was a shepherd. So Cain makes an offering to God.
Because when there's only 4 people, you can specialize.
You specialize.
Like that.
Yeah,
Exactly.
You just get to have one.
No,
job.
you got the flock.
Everybody gets a job.
Yeah.
I'll watch the grass grow. You're good.
Eve was the accountant.
Yeah, she did their taxes every quarter. Very.
She was diligent.
Yeah.
So Cain makes an offering to God of the fruits of the earth, and it appears that it's not totally clear, but that God did not respect Cain's offering.
Because fuck you.
know.
That's why.
Here's some grass. So this caused Cain's countenance to fall.
Oh.
God asks him why he's in a bad mood. Although leaving aside that God is supposed to be all-knowing, the answer to the question was in the previous verse.
Right. Yeah,
Anyway.
exactly.
Cain then takes his brother Abel into a field, and out of nowhere, and apropos of nothing, kills him. So,
Wow.
why does Cain do this?
Yeah. Okay. That's funny. I've never really known why he killed him. I thought it was. Was it over a bowl of soup, or that's Jacob and Esau?
Here's the thing. The other thing that I love is that, by the way, going back to the whole God and Abel and Cain thing, it is the perfect archetype of an abusive parent.
Right.
When you hit him and then you go, "Why are you so sad? What's the matter with you?"
Right.
Yeah. All right,
So-
Doug. Give us more on Cain.
So why does Cain do this? Well, there's no explanation for it in the book that the story's in, but we have to wait until the first book of John, near the very end of the Bible, for this enlightening explanation. Quote, "And wherefore slew he him? Because his own works were evil and his brother's righteous." There you go. Now you understand.
Okay, right.
So that's in the New Testament.
That's at the end of the New Testament. So Cain kills Abel. We have to wait till the end of the book to find out why.
Wow, that's
You know what? It's a classic dramatic structure. You got to bookend it.
That's right.
that's some Shyamalan.
So yeah. At any rate, God asks Cain where Abel is, and Cain famously replies, "Am I my brother's keeper?" But then instantly Cain says to God, "My punishment is greater than I can bear." What punishment? I don't know yet. So some nice building of tension.
I know
and
what it
character
is.
Yeah,
development.
I think we know what it is.
Right.
He started growing hair instantly.
He's black.
So God's response to the first murder in the history of the world by the first man born on the earth, by the way,
Yeah.
is to announce to everyone that whoever slays Cain shall be visited with 7 times the punishment that Cain gave Abel. I have questions.
Right? How do you? I'm going to kill you 7 times more than you killed that guy.
What?
There are now only 3 people on the earth. There are only 3 people on the earth, so fully 1/3 of the global population is actually guilty of the crime.
Right.
The other 2/3 are his parents. Who's God talking to?
I don't
Who's he
know.
giving a warning to?
Right.
And how does one mete out 7 times the death penalty?
Yeah.
Anyway,
That's a good
I'm
question.
going to kill your knees, and I'm going to kill your feet. I'm going to kill your cock.
so
Dig you up again and throw you in the Tiber, I guess.
anyway, God puts a mark on Cain so that no one will kill him, What this mark could have been has not caused any problems anywhere ever since.
Right.
Why is Africa looking at it like that?
So God is the punishment for Cain killing Abel is that anybody who kills Cain, I kill 7 times over, and now he's a black guy.
Yeah.
No, now he's marked, and we get to interpret that how we will. So yes, he's black.
Yeah.
So Cain...
Well, I'm afraid a lot of people beat us to that interpretation.
Exactly.
So
Yeah.
the chocolate milk is spilled.
Cain leaves Eden by the east exit to the land of Nod, where he immediately gets his wife pregnant and has children. I have questions.
Sure.
Sure.
So, I mean, leaving all of the silliness aside, okay, whatever. So that's pretty much it for Cain in the Bible.
At best, it's his sister.
At best, and that's what the Mormons come up with.
Well, it has to be his sister.
Who else could it be?
But is it his dad's kid or is it his own kid?
Or is it Abel's?
Oh, it could be Abel's.
Whoa.
Yeah.
So that's pretty much it for Cain in the Bible, except for a few references here and there and that throwaway explanation in John.
Yeah.
However, part of what would become the Book of Abraham, which was perhaps Joseph Smith's most ambitious and most laughable hoax,
Right.
which we'll cover in more depth another time.
But but just explain what it is.
Well,
so that
yeah, and part of it, Joseph wrote the Book of Moses, and the Book of Abraham is a quote-unquote translation of a papyrus that Joseph Smith actually stumbled
if
across.
Viewers, the fuck am I talking about? If our listeners are less familiar with strange Mormon ephemera and more familiar with funny fail gifs online, where a guy kicks the soccer ball and hits the post and knocks him out, things like that, that's kind of what this is.
right.
Yeah.
And one of the
It's the
books...
scriptural equivalent.
Exactly. One of the books in the Book of Abraham is the Book of Moses, which purports to be a first-hand account, so written by Moses, of creation itself and several notable events in the Old Testament. And so here Joseph gives a little bit more color to the Cain story. He says that Adam and Eve had many more children before Cain and Abel, thus explaining who Cain ended up marrying. Yes.
No, they did.
His sister.
Oh, my God.
Yes, they did. Mark.
Oh, my God.
And Joseph went on to clarify Cain's motive. Joseph claimed Cain entered into a pact with Satan in which Cain would kill, and therefore Satan would reward him with positioning him among the sons of Adam. So that's Joseph's explanation for the story of Cain. I don't think it clears it up any.
Yeah.
Not the greatest,
So grateful for that.
not the greatest fanfic.
No, definitely not. So at that point, when Cain became in a secret combination with Satan, he was known as the master of this great secret, or Master Mahan, according to Joseph.
Sexy.
So there's that.
That's Cain's name, Master Mahan.
So all that being said, Mormons have interpreted...
Not mayhem.
Mahan, M-A-H-A-N.
Okay.
Okay. So
Is
Mormons...
that like a blue jay? Like, what is it?
Because Master Mayhem would be a really
That'd
cool...
be a great title.
Like,
Yeah.
that's like a Marvel character or something.
pro wrestler suddenly in the Book of
Exactly.
Genesis. Why not?
Or someone in a Morton Joe's caravan. So Mormons have interpreted Cain's punishment to be that he would walk the earth forever and would never know death. There are several other characters in Mormon lore that have not died, but all of these have been righteous followers of God.
Yeah.
John the Beloved, for example.
Yep.
And the 3 Nephites, which Uncle Mark covered in episode 39.
Yep.
So,
And it's totally true. Shut up.
right. So in the cases of Nephites and John the Beloved, this was a reward.
Right.
In the case of Cain, it was a punishment. And
Right.
he's-
The same exact thing.
Exactly.
It's a punishment for one and reward for others.
Yeah, I'm very confused by this, but sure.
So, kind of as the lore goes, over time, Cain has, grown hair all over his body. He's obviously black.
Right.
And one wonders what he did during the flood, but I'll leave that up to you guys. So,
He's treaded water for 100
or
days.
just walked around on the bottom of the ocean.
No, you know what?
That's true. He can't die.
You know what? He Cape Feared it on the bottom of the ark. He hung onto the transmission until they got to Ararat, and then he was in more of a pickle then. But
Right, exactly.
you can't kill him.
He grabbed a gorilla and went on 2 by 2.
Yeah.
There you go. So lastly, let's divert into Bigfoot for a second, or Sasquatch, as his friends call him. The Bigfoot phenomenon is primarily North American in origin and grouped heavily in the Pacific Northwest, although there have been reported sightings across the continent and even in different parts of the world. What would eventually be the current concept of Bigfoot was grouped together from various urban legends, Native American tales, and misidentified fauna.
And a beef jerky commercial.
That's right. And although these legends did exist in some time or another at the time that David W. Patton was killing Missouri militia, We have no idea if what he was referring to was meant to be Kane or Bigfoot. We just don't know.
Right.
So there you
He
go.
just saw a furry guy.
Yeah, or didn't.
Or did, you're right.
Or
right.
just
More
made it up.
likely did not.
Right.
Yeah.
So what we know for sure is that Spencer W. Kimball credulously included this account in his book, and that was mandated reading for all Mormons through the 60s, 70s, 80s, and even to today. And we know that in 1977, hikers in the high Uinta Mountains of Utah spotted a 10-foot-tall, hairy creature walking on its hind legs, matched with the now popularized account from Kimball's book published only 8 years earlier, and presto.
Ta-da.
You have Bigfoot Kane.
No, hang on. Wait 1 second, Doug. If it was supposed to be Cain, and Cain had come out of the Garden of Eden, how could he have been in North America? I know you have the answer to this.
I
really
do.
Put me on the spot here.
You know the answer.
Because the Garden of Eden was in Missouri.
The
That's right.
Garden of Eden is here.
Ding.
We get the Garden of Eden.
Tennessee is hardly a hop, skip, and a jump
Yeah,
from
it's
independence.
barely. Yeah, he barely walked 15 feet.
That's
Yeah.
right. Or I thought you could just walk the earth for 6,000 years. You might end up in Utah.
If you're not very careful.
If you're not lucky, yeah, if you're unlucky.
Take a lot of wrong turns. It should be mentioned that the Mormon Church and its apologist site, fairmormon.org, go to great lengths to distance themselves from this obvious and embarrassing bullshit.
I wonder why.
They claim that Kimball only included it as an interesting anecdote, not meant to be taken literally, which could be applied to the entirety of Mormon canon.
Right, yeah. That's an easy out that they will continue to apply liberally as more and more science
Exactly.
appears.
And lastly, they claim that there's plenty of evidence that Cain died. So how could this be true?
There's plenty of evidence. Oh my God! Do they have it in little baggies?
Oh my god.
Evidence that Cain died.
Feel a blue light in a baggie.
That's amazing.
Yeah,
So, question.
Yeah.
Spencer W. Kimball, was he a prophet when he quote unquote wrote this book?
Oh, a good question. I don't know. He was an apostle for sure. I don't know if he had yet ascended to prophetship yet. I could look that up, but it was in 66 or whatever that he wrote the book.
Because that would be a really complicating factor, because everything a prophet says is by nature prophecy.
But they
according to some
adopted
of
this book as like quasi-Mormon canon while he was prophet. So there's really no walking away from this.
And just so that everybody understands, just to paint a quick picture, if just immediately former president of the church, Thomas Monson, is the emperor of the church, Spencer Kimball is the Yoda. Just so that we know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's just
Because
he
didn't literally talk like
and he was little and he had the bit. He looked a lot like you. Anyway,
That's literally true.
Yeah, so this has been a beautiful examination of racism and insanity through the lens of cryptozoology.
right. Yeah.
I think we should do this more often.
There you go. You're welcome.
Delightful. Let's move on.
Let's move on.